everybody, day one of pre-fishing for the Hobie Bass Open Series event on Broken Bow Lake. Got up a little late this morning. We got in last night and checked into our cabin. I'll give you a little walk around to the cabin later. It's awesome. But got into the cabin late, visited with some friends, and stayed up super late. So it's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm just now heading out to pre-fish. But that's okay. It's good to get your rest on pre-fishing days. We'll see if we can get out and find a little something today and tomorrow, and then tournament goes down Saturday. But day one of pre-fishing, it's gonna be fun. I love Broken Bow Lake, so let's get out here and see what we can find.
I go. A long time with different circuits. Okay. From his job, and bass fishing is what he loves.
Made it. I'm the only one at this ramp. It's a miracle. So what I found pre-fishing was two spawning pockets that had a point running by the deep water and then a secondary point back in there with a long gravel covered point that ran out into the middle of the cove with some rock on it. All right, day one of pre-fishing's in the books. Caught enough to put together a limit, mostly spots and a few little largemouth. All indication is it's really tough. I heard it's real dirty up the river. I'm down here closer to the dam. It's day one of pre-fishing, so move spots tomorrow. Try to check a few more things out, but I'm not going to go up the river. I'm just going to go to the other side of the lake, snoop around a little bit. It's supposed to rain. See if I can get a few more things figured out, and then Saturday it's game day. Fun day though, beautiful. Springtime's here, the water in the low 50s, high 40s. So I know these fish are wanting to move. I'm just trying to get where they're going to go. So on to tomorrow. So day two, I found an area similar to what I found on day one and decided to check it out. All right, day two of pre-fishing. Got another kind of late start because it was raining pretty hard this morning, and the conditions aren't going to be at all like they are for tournament day. So I'm going to check a few offshore spots on the opposite side of the lake here, pedal around a little bit, hopefully give it till about 1 o'clock and bail. See if we can get on a little backup pattern from what I found yesterday, or maybe find something a little better. Or maybe find something a little better. We'll see. But day two, here we go. Wind's getting up a little bit. We'll move spots, check a few more things, then load up, drive to a different ramp. Choppy. All right, caught a few moving spots. One more spot check before pre-fishing is over. Let's go. Decided to settle in on the area I fished on the day one of practice. Started there first day, and fishing was slow to say the least. You can see the water was glassy, bluebird skies, kind of post-frontal deal. I fished the mouth of that pocket, that long point, ended up going back in the pocket a little ways, fishing some of the laydowns and banks leading into the back. But where I was catching them on a jig and Carolina rig in practice, I got no love first thing this morning. Y'all see him swimming down there? You guys are about the third person that's pulled up here and nobody's got them to fire yet. I said, you're about the third person that's pulled up here and nobody's got them to fire yet. Well, I know, because I'm trying to get them to fire too, and I can't do it. Let's see, the first one was on Lake Seminole, then Watts Bar. This is the third one. The next one's on Dardanelle, then we go to Sam Rayburn. It's economical to fish out of this, but it still costs a lot to travel around and do it. Yeah, I was wearing them out right here where it would come out and drop about 12 feet, but they ain't there today. So parted ways with those fellas in the bass boat. Real nice guys running live scope, kind of doing donuts, but they didn't catch anything. Decided to leave spot one, start heading towards that second spawning pocket that I found on day one of practice. On the way down there, got out a rock crawler and a square bill and kind of went down these rocky banks with that chunk rock. Had about 5 more boats pull in that little pocket up there, so come in, leave, chasing them with the live scope.
So I made the turn here into the spawning pocket, and something tipped me off right away. There were fish going. Some bait busted right there on top of that long point. Immediately pulled up my Carolina rig, drug across there, and hooked up. Fish number 1 for the day and for the tournament. So after that first catch, it kind of tipped me off on what was going on there. The sun had warmed those rocks up. I'd fished that other area for a couple hours. And I kind of went on a little flurry. Within a few minutes, I hooked up fish number 2. Hooked up with fish number 3, and at this point I thought it was just a matter of time before a big female was caught, because there were tons of fish on this little shoal or point, but just wasn't to be. This thing was holding tons of males, and I just kept catching them pretty much all day long. Ended up actually laying off them a little bit early to try to save them for day 2, but here was fish number 4. All this probably happened within 30 minutes. Carolina rig is old school to some people, dragging that thing around, but it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm fishing anything hard bottom or rocks, because I can really feel what's going on down there. This was fish number 5, and as everyone knows, that when you get that 5th fish on tournament day, even if it's not a big one, it feels good.
Number 5, let's go.
So I was sitting here adjusting my Carolina rig. You know, had 5 fish in the boat. Threw back out, was messing with my depth finder. Had one just clobber it. You know it's your day when you're not even paying attention and hooking up with them. This ended up being a little bit of a cold. So in practice, I got one bite out here at the mouth of this pocket, but I thought all those males up on that secondary point, maybe there was a big female holding out here, so I moved out to the mouth. While it wasn't a big female, it was definitely a smaller female, a little bit bigger fish than I've been catching there towards the back of the pocket. So I thought it really tipped me off to something for day 2, and maybe more fish would be coming to me, not just the bucks I was catching up to this point. One more fish off that rocky shoal. It was another little bit of a coal. I kind of nickel and dimed him for 2 days. I didn't ever catch a big kicker, but I'd get my limit, then I'd go up an inch or 2 at a time and just kind of slow climb my limit up in the low 70-inch range. Back out to the mouth of that pocket. Missed one, threw back in there. And this ended up being my second best fish of the day. It wasn't a big one by any means, but it was nearly 16 inches to go along with the 16-incher I already caught. So, still waiting on those big females to pull in there, but any little call helps.
All right, y'all, day one of the Bass Open Series is done. Last check, I'm in 13th place with more people still submitting, so I'm just hoping I can stay in that top 15 or top 20. I'm in a good position for tomorrow. They say you can't lose the tournament, or you can't win the tournament on day one, but you can definitely lose it. So, got my limit. I'm a long ways back from the top 3, but from there down, it's kind of a jumbled up deal. There's a lot of people really, really close to each other, above me and below me. So, good day tomorrow. If I can back it up with maybe had 74 inches today, so if I can back it up with the same or something close to 80, I should be able to move up a little bit, I hope. So go home and get some rest, ice my legs. It was an hour pedal to my spot, so a little ice, a little hot tub, I don't know, but I need to rest up. You ready to do it again tomorrow? Let's go.
So I started day 2 where I left off day 1 in the second spot that I had pre-fished in, that second spawning pocket I found. That's where I caught all my fish on day 1, so rather than mess around for a few hours in the wrong area, I went straight here through some moving baits. Thought I could catch one early since I wasn't here that early the day before. Didn't get any love on that, so I went back to the Carolina rig and jig, went back to that shallow shoal and started throwing it around. And it took a while to get my first bite. You can see it's still post-front glass calm conditions out there, and the bites were hard to come by. Number 1, always good to catch that first and break the ice, ease the nerves a little bit.
Number 1, let's go.
So it took a while to get going the rest of the morning. I was missing a lot of fish. They were not eating it as good as the day before. I don't know if I got here too early or what the deal was, but it was definitely a different kind of bite, and I heard that from other folks in the field as well. Fish number 2 of the day. Starting to get a little worried, so it's nice to hook up with one again. Started getting a little ripple on the water with the wind, and I thought that might help turn the bite on, and it really did. It still wasn't a great bite, but it definitely picked up once that wind's picked up. Day 2, the between bites was so much longer than day 1.
3.
Switched over to drop shot for a minute. That didn't really work. Threw a Ned rig too, but no takers there. Got the Carolina rig back out, started dragging it. The wind laid down for a little while as well. And same thing, some short strikes. Keeper number 4 in the net. Move back out to the mouth of that pocket, just hoping I can catch a 5th fish and maybe it'd be a bigger one. Made the right call and hooked up pretty quick. pulled pretty hard, but I didn't think it was that big of a fish, but it was pulling hard. And when I got it in the net, got a little surprise because I hadn't caught anything but largemouth in this pocket, but this ended up being a keeper smallmouth.
Bonus smallmouth.
The sun started warming things up, so I pulled out some moving baits again. Tried to change it up a little bit, threw a spinnerbait and a lipless crankbait in the back of the cove, thinking maybe a big one had moved up, but nothing there. The wind really started ripping, so I got out an A-rig, thinking they may start biting a moving bait with a little bigger profile like this, with some, a little bit of flash to it. I think the second cast on it, back across that shallow point that came out, I got hooked up. Wasn't a giant, but once again, it was a little cold. Took the A-rig and went across to the other side of the cove, a little steeper bank, and started running that thing over the top of some laydowns out on the deep end. Came across a treetop on one of those laydowns and hooked up. This ended up being the best fish of day 2. Which isn't saying much. It was only 15 3/4 inches, but I was glad to have it after my limit was mostly 13 to 14 inch fish. So I kept working this A-rig on this windy bank, leading out on this little steeper side. Then I went outside the pocket on the same kind of bank leading in. Thinking maybe I was just too far back for the larger fish, and started throwing the A-rig again. Hooked up almost immediately. Once again though, not the big female I was looking for, but it ended up being a 14.5 inch spot. It was a nice little coal, got me up another inch. Got that fish measured, moved right back out to the same spot. 2 casts later, hooked up again with a carbon copy of the fish I had just caught out there. After catching this one, I kind of made the #1 sin is never leave fish to find fish. I decided to go back and backtrack, flip the script, and fish the area I fished first on day 1. Never got another bite the rest of the day. Finished the tournament with that last little Kentucky being my final hole.
Well, day 2 done. Caught fish both days. I mean, I thought I had the fish to, maybe not to win, but to really move up high. I was sitting in 6th at the last leaderboard check, but I think the late submitters will probably bump me out of the top 10. But the #1 mission, of course, is try to win. But #2, I wanted to get enough points to try and get off to a good start to make that Tournament of Champions in the AOY points race. So if I can just stay in that top 15, I'll be happy with the weekend. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to my wife for coming with me, Ashley. It was a lot of fun down here, and Kyle and Ashley along. We split a cabin with them. It was a ton of fun. On to the next one, Dardanelle, next in April. We'll see where this thing shakes out, but happy with my performance. Could have fished a little cleaner, but overall, looked like a tough 2 days for most people, so to get 2 limits pretty quick both days felt really good. So hey, thanks for watching. Be sure and hit that notification bell and subscribe before you go. Appreciate y'all.